Hello, artists. It's Kelly Folsom here, and welcome back to another Art Life Conversations podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about 5 tips for social media to not suck out your soul as an artist. That's quite the title, isn't it? So first and foremost, if you are trying to build your art business, the first piece to accept is that you do have to spend some time on social media, especially if you're building your art business online. But even now with in-person shows and being in galleries, you still really want to have a social media presence for your art. Okay, so number one, just accept that. Like the definition of torture, right? Mental torture is you're not willing to accept it, but you're also not willing to do anything to change it, right? Like that's not where we want to be. So first you just want to accept that that is a part of building our art business in 2022. And then you really want to decide ahead of time, how much time you are going to contribute to that part of your business. If your business is not 100% supported online as mine is, you probably don't need to spend as much time on there, right? So first get some clarity around that. How much time do you need to spend on there, or do you want to spend on there for your art business? You're going to have to spend some amount of time. And of course, we do try to minimize it, right? Because social media can be soul-sucking. Here's the truth is that most artists are really just frittering away a lot of their time on social media. And they're not using the time that they spend on social media wisely and well. So then they turn around and they blame social media and Instagram's so addictive and Facebook's so addictive, but they haven't done anything to change their own behavior, their own activity, so that's the other thing, is make sure you're taking responsibility for how you're using these platforms and these tools, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is you being responsible for yourself and not, saying, oh, that is bad and it is soul sucking and I'm just not going to do it anymore, right? Okay, because that's not really the answer. All right, so the first thing is to plan, schedule it, plan it out. When are you going to work on your social media that week? Okay, you want to get it on the calendar. You want to decide, how much time you're going to give to that, right? But you definitely want to get it onto the calendar, because if you don't, you will not have a regular routine with your social media practice. And listen, I'm not perfect, y'all, okay? And and I have really had to learn, I've had to learn this the hard way in terms of scheduling and planning. I have really had to learn it the hard way, because if you don't schedule and plan, then you either A, you don't do it, or B, you are not spending your time there wisely and efficiently, and so you give way too much time to it, but you're not getting enough results back, right? So we don't really want either one of those things to happen. So first and foremost, you've got to get it on the calendar. So that leads right into the next tip, which is doing things in batch. So here's what happens when we don't batch things and we don't schedule and plan, is like all this, mental clutter is just kind of bouncing around in the brain, is going, don't forget to post on social media. Don't forget to check your social media, and reply to comments and all that kind of stuff. And that's really there clogging up the system, and then you're trying to paint, but you got all this stuff clogging up the system, and thoughts, coming back. Your brain's basically just trying to remind you of things that you need to do, right? And you don't want your brain reminding you of those things that you need to do when you're at the easel painting, or when you're doing something that you really need to focus on and be creative with, right? So you want to tell your brain what to do, give your brain compartments, so that your brain really doesn't bother you with those things when you're trying to create, when you need that alone time, when you need that quiet time to really just absorb and take in the world and smell the lilies, by the way, which I got for They're amazing. $10 to totally change and uplift your life. All right, so first, schedule and plan. Number 2 is batch, and that means basically doing things in one batch. So it's a lot easier if you set aside, let's say 3 hours one morning, let's say once a week or once every 2 weeks, even if you're not making a ton of posts, and you can really write up all of your posts that you want to publish. You can decide ahead of time, this is what I'm gonna post, this is what I'm gonna say, this is what I need to talk about this week. Maybe you have a sale coming up, maybe you have a show coming up, so basically doing it all in batch. And you can do this as well for your email, writing your emails to your email subscribers as well. It's just a lot easier if you do it in batch. Plus, it's a lot easier for you to really get into the flow and write better things and, get into like some deep work. Then, you have it on your calendar. These are the dates and time that I post. Just set a little alarm on your phone and you just got to go in there, copy and paste, baby, and upload your photo. Boom, you're done. You did it and you feel good and you feel great because you followed through and you did it. You made your post, you posted your hashtags, I would also recommend that for your hashtags, that you've got them different sets of them, different groups of them pre-written up in the notes on your phone or Google Docs, so that you can also copy and paste those into your first comment on your post once your post is published. All right. And then you can, set a timer to come back in, later and check on comments and reply. So that leads me into the next thing already, which is to make it routine. Anything that we can turn into a habit, and especially routine, then we're going to have, better results and better success with it. And it's not going to be such a freaking big deal anymore, right? Like, it's not going to be such head trash or head drama around it anymore, right? So we don't have head trash, well, at least I don't, around waking up, taking a shower, brushing my teeth, right? Putting on deodorant. I don't even think about it. It's like, it's so routine. It's so automatic. And that's really the place where you want to get with your social media, so that it isn't soul sucking, and also so that you are, serving people in the absolute best way that you can. And that's the other thing, as I would say, is like, make sure that you check your mindset around social media. Like, if we're always approaching everything as like, take, what can people do for me? How many followers can I get? It's not really a joyful place to be. We want give and take. That is the natural cycle of life, right? Give and take. This is flow. This is natural. And so you also want to keep in mind that you're not just posting for no reason. You're also not just posting for selfish reasons. Like, you're posting to, like, somebody's going to see your post that day and maybe it's going to uplift their day. It's going to inspire them. They're going to be so blown away by the beauty that you've created. And if you've written some beautiful inspirational words to go with it, well, then icing on the cake, So you really want to make sure that you're also coming from a place and attitude of serving your potential customers and followers who are on there. Okay, so make it routine. And in order to make it routine, I've already mentioned how, but you want to set containers of time. If I don't set a container of time, of focus time, this is the amount of time I'm going to sit down and focus, and I set a timer for it, then I'll either get distracted or I'll take way too long to do something, right? Oh, that's not worded right. I got to rewrite that. I got to perfect that. Overthinking, over perfecting, this kind of stuff. So we ain't got time for that. We just have to do the best we can, especially social media. It's not about perfection. It is about optimization, serving your followers and engaging your followers there. But it's certainly not about perfection. Number 5, of course, is then you want to study your insights and optimize what you're doing, okay? And I would not do this every day. Again, you've got to tell your brain what to do. We are going to study insights and look to see what needs to be optimized only, let's say, once a week or once every 2 weeks, right? Instead of, I know some artists I've spoken with, they might check every day how many people have liked that post, how many people have commented, oh, how does that compare to so and so over here in their post, and how does that compare to other posts? And you're doing that too much, it's becoming obsessive, so and it's also just not helpful. It's not a good use of your time. It's not helpful. It tends to tie into fear and scarcity mentality, and then you start getting into comparison. Well, why are they getting so many comments and posts? And so when you study your insights and optimize your posts, again, you want to set a container of time around that before you plan your post. Is a good idea to do that, but do the study insights and optimize before you write your new post and plan out your new post, because then you can look over the whole last week, see which posts were performing better, which posts got more engagement, and really try to understand why that was. Did you ask good questions, in the description? Did you write something really beautiful? Did people just love the painting, and then just studying other things like, oh, well, it seems like every time I post a vertical painting or I post a reel, I get much more engagement from that. That's what you want to do, but you want to set aside time to do that intentionally and specifically, instead of obsessively, day to day. And again, you just want to look at it with like a open mind and a curiosity, and a beginner's mind, and really just studious and not making it mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about you. There's nothing wrong with you. Somebody else isn't better than you. It's just really looking at it without ego and just saying, I'm here to learn. I'm here to try to figure out what's going to work better so I can serve my followers better, so I can reach more people, so that I can build my business better. So really stay clear on what your focus and your intention is. Okay. Hope I covered all of the sticking points about how to use social media without it using you and sucking the soul out of your body, out of your creative life. That's really, for me, that's what this is all about. Painting is all about mastering ourselves. Painting is all about, and making art is really all about knowing ourselves better, transcending, into our highest selves while we're here in this earth suit on this planet, right? And so I see social media, learning things like that, building my art business as absolutely no different. It is all about me mastering me. That is really the name of the game. Okay. All right, my art friends, thank you so much for being here. You can always email in at info@artlifewithkelly, Kelli, and send me any other comments or questions about the podcast. All right. Happy painting, my friends. Until next time. Bye.